Good afternoon, everybody. Can you guys hear us? We good? Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. We do have a good, exciting, and informative conversation for us for the next couple of minutes we're here together. I just wanted to kind of start up with introducing myself and the lineup of our presenters here. So I am Raj Kulani. I'm director in the cloud, director of product management in Google Cloud. I'm joined with Igor from Globo, and of course my colleague Dave Reesfield. So between the three of us, we'll get the presentation started here. Now, we are here to basically address a very big challenge in the media industry from a content delivery perspective, right? Content pricing has, piracy has real cost implications to our business, to our brand, to our reputation. That's what the theme is for our conversation today. When we talk about content piracy, we're talking about impact to our bottom line, effectively loss of revenue. We're talking about an impending cost of actually delivering content, whether we are hit by piracy or not. We still have to own the cost of delivering the content. And what this effectively means to you as customers and to your customers is when we think about $26.6 billion of viewing of US production in movies, we see 1/3 of this content being impacted by piracy. So this is a true impact, a true event, a true concern with our industry. Now, when we think about this in terms of it is a known problem, why is it so difficult to address this problem? And that's what we're going to share with you in terms of address the problem statement, have Igor share with you what they are doing with the Google network to solve for it, and Dave can share with you why it is something that we are able to solve as Google. So if you think about the hard part about solving this problem, one is how do you identify the bad actors? That is critical for us because they could be within the production house, they could be viewers, they could be state actors, if you may. Now, when you think about identifying the bad actors, it's all about how do you figure out where the problem and the bad actors are? And once you identify them, how can you act in terms of stopping your screams? How do you basically stop delivering content so that you don't continue to be prided as being the ones being attacked? Now, that's the second piece. And the point beyond this is it is super time sensitive. So if you think about it, the problem statement is threefold. One is lots of data to sift through. We need very, very high automation in terms of mechanisms to stop the stream. And finally, it is about being time sensitive to act when we have confirmed we are being hit by piracy. So these are the problem statements that we are trying to address. And with that, I will hand it off to Igor, who will share with you how they are addressing this problem statement at Globo. I'll invite Igor to the stage.
Thank you, Raj. Globo is a big media company down in Brazil, and we are rights holder for a bunch of sports competition events, right? And that's very high value content that we pay, we charge a premium for our subscribers and our audience to watch. And it's very important to us that we protect this content, right? We use Google Media CDN as an overflow strategy in Brazil for our own CDN delivery because we have our own CDN in Brazil. And we also use Google Media CDN internationally to deliver Globo's content to everyone outside of Brazil. We have a very large community of Brazilians that want to follow up the sports competitions that we have, streaming rights in worldwide, and they use the Global Play app, which is our streaming product, to watch this content, and we use Google Media CDN to deliver that traffic. One thing we noticed a couple of years ago when we started doing that was some spikes on the traffic of the international CDN during the times of the matches, right? So every time that we had like a live linear match going on, we saw a spike in consumption that wasn't really compatible with the spike in our monitoring services, the amount of users that we were streaming. And we saw that spike and we were, something's happening here, right? So we started investigating, and we saw that there were some not so good actors trying to steal our feed and do all sorts of things with them, right? So the first strategy that we made is that at the time we had like a single setup for Media CDN, both for Brazil and worldwide. And we saw that most of the traffic that was being consumed was coming from Brazil. So we said, okay, let's split the international and the domestic traffic into two configurations and try to protect those configurations differently, so we don't have leakage of our stream, right? And then, of course, the bad actors, they caught up on that, and they started doing other stuff. So we have to go a next step and implement more robust security methods to restrict traffic international from coming, fetching content from the CDN in Brazil, and vice versa, right? And then we still saw some traffic spikes, and then we started doing short and long tokenization on the URLs to protect and like embedding the IP address and this kind of stuff, and doing rotating secrets to stop this from happening, right? But it's a problem that we still fight every day nowadays, and we've seen all sorts of other methods that the pirates were using to try to gain access to the strings without authorization, right? And then they started doing some reverse engineering on our video player and trying to understand how we generated those tokens. And it's a cat and mice fight, right? So we're always trying. In Brazil, we have an expression that say, "You're trying to dry ice," right? It's impossible. It'll never end. You'll never finish drying ice. So that's a big challenge, and we're still fighting and finding ways to do it. We still have like some sort of manual operations overlooking that part, and that doing the takedowns and everything, and we're fighting as bad as we can, as good as we can, but it's a very difficult challenge.
So Igor, if I may ask, right, could you help us go through the different steps you took in addition to, hey, I made these changes and I'm a little more closer to protecting my content, and then realized you were not as close and you had to make a lot more changes, and effectively did you land in a place where you believe you know how to protect your content and your users? As you said, it is a cat and mice in terms of the smarter we get, the smarter the pirates get, and the chase is on.
Yeah, so yes, we are, of course, fighting the problem, and we have made very big improvements. But we still have some, from time to time, we see things happening, right? So it's not a done deal. It's not something that we have 100% solved. But I think there is a light in the end of the tunnel, right? Mm-hmm. I think we have some other techniques that we are applying to protect the URLs and to protect the video player algorithm itself to make this as bulletproof as possible, right, as it is.
Okay. And I think this is where I think our partnership is very critical, working with close customers, strategic customers like Globo, is to learn what kind of traffic and what kind of attacks are they dealing with, what has actually worked to kind of put a pause to this piracy that we can take it to other customers. So that's the magic of the partnership. But I also think the other aspect of Google is, how do we improve our products to learn from some of these acts of piracy that we can avoid, to build in our products directly, so that customers like Igor can say, we gave you the feedback, now it's part of the product, and let's get ready for the next wave of whatever the pirates come up with. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay, awesome. So with that, I think we could invite our presenter, Dave, to join us as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. Can we advance the slide? All right, so we know we have a problem. The challenge now is, so what are you going to do about it? How are we actually going to stop these bad actors from getting this content that we don't want them to have access to? So if you think about this in terms of breaking down the various components, there's a delivery side, there's a logging side of the business, there's the detection, and then ultimately, how do I invalidate the bad actor and kick them off my network? So if you think about these kind of as the basic building blocks of what we're actually trying to achieve. So advance the slide. So if we kind of advance this, kind of doing a bigger of a slide build, we have various components that we've able to kind of string together to kind of create an automated end-to-end, kind of no human in the loop mitigation service. It starts off with Media CDN. Media CDN is the delivery arm. That's how we provide the experience for the video. That's fine. As part of that, as Igor was talking about, right, there's tokenization. There is protection on the video. Yeah. The challenge is the bad actors are kind of reverse engineering, trying to work around this. So the second phase of that is in the logging side. So we're able to do streaming logging into BigQuery from Media CDN, directly straight in input. The real-time logging, less than a minute anywhere around the world, is going to appear inside of BigQuery. So it's very, very fast. There's not like a log aggregation period that needs to occur. The second part of that, though, then is once the information is inside of BigQuery, what do we do with that? So what we're able to do is apply machine learning and using the BigQuery ML model and look at the logs that are coming in to make time-based inferences here, right? We see a particular token for in a particular time, particular geo, particular network value. And so we're able to try to create correlation of whether or not the same token has been used in a time period from the same IP or different IPs. From that, we're able to kind of essentially create a curated list of these bad tokens, of IPs that are essentially in violation of the policy that we kind of establish in the machine learning side of the house. We advertise that in a pub sub channel. Subsequently, it goes into our artifact registry where we pick up a recurring cron job that then sends that information to a WASM module using something called service extensions. The service extensions run pre-cache entry inside of Media CDN. At that point, the bad tokens are fed into the WASM module, and the WASM module executes before it allows the end user access to the token. As a result of that, we can invalidate the token and stop the end user, the bad actor, from coming into the site automatically without having to have a human in the loop. So this reduces the reliability of having humans to kind of collate and curate the log data, and it takes automation and puts that forward in order to stop the bad actors.